This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, November 18th, and we are close to Thanksgiving. Pretty exciting times, dealing with a lot of interesting things. So I wanted to talk, first of all, about what's happening with the market, both local and also in the nation. So just like we've been talking before about what's happened. So this was our prediction, what the experts were saying what was happening in April, and the predictions that they were having for what was going to happen with the economy after the COVID shutdown. We all know how everything had a big dip, and then predictions from top people in the financial world, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, were all predicting a V-shaped recovery. That was their prediction in April. So what has actually happened? So what actually happened is we have had a V-shaped recovery. That is based upon actual GDP numbers, and the economy has recovered tremendously. Hopefully this new shutdown will just be temporary and it won't impact us the way the first shutdown did, but this is actually what has happened and what we have seen in the economy. So the news stories often describe the coronavirus induced global economic downturn as the worst since the Great Depression. Yet for many, the comparison does more to terrify than to clarify. A lot of people were saying it was gloom and doom. We were going to go into a long-term depression. And actually, what's happened has not been that. We've had issues with unemployment. We've had issues with certain businesses being extremely impacted. With housing, we know we've never had a more robust housing market than we've been dealing with right now, in which people are buying homes as quickly as we hit the market. So here is what's a positive that's happened during the economic turndown. The average American has had their FICO score go up. Think about what's happened from April when it was at 706. In July, the average American FICO score is now at 711. And why? Well, what's happened? The stimulus checks, when they came, what did people actually use their stimulus checks for? So 29% of them spent the money, 36% saved the money, and 35% used it to pay down debt. If you pay down debt, you do increase your FICO score. So this is one example of something that came out that has been a positive thing here. Also, here's another huge positive. During every economic turndown, every bad economy, when things happen, innovation hits. And so business applications in the United States are through the roof. Look at what's happened this year with people who are opening new businesses, people who are figuring out a way of earning a living when their job is shut down. American ingenuity, you got to admire it. It is truly one of those things that has been a wonder across the entire world, how people can figure out how to make something positive happen out of something negative. So this is huge positive information. Also, change in the consumer spending since January. Yes, once everything hit and the economy shut down, spending shut down too. But we're looking at a lot of states here in which we're actually back to normal or above normal. Yes, Alaska, South Dakota, Delaware, Rhode Island are still very much below, and Hawaii too, very much below normal consumer spending. But in Oregon, we're down 4%, but look at Washington, it's up 2.6%. Idaho, up 10.7%. So consumer spending is coming back. People are feeling more confident again. They're spending. I'm hoping as we enter into this Christmas season, I know from having been a small business owner for many, many years, and when we dealt in the retail trade, most profits for retailers happen at Christmas. And so if we can have a positive economy moving into Christmas, this is good news for everybody. And again, I'm hoping the shutdown is just temporary. And then once, as much as possible, we do support our local retailers. I mean, it's trying times, and especially to have the shutdown at Christmas is challenging. But anyway, it's positive when we go out there and spend money. Here's also some positive news. This is the Bureau of Labor Statistics weekly unemployment filings. So people who filed unemployment, COVID hit, massive, huge increase there in March, but look at what's happened since that point in time. This is through October 31st. We have weekly unemployment filings way down compared with what happened when COVID first hit. So this is, again, a positive trend that we are seeing. Again, here's also a positive trend. People who are currently receiving unemployment insurance. Big hit, 24.9% in May. And look, we're down to 7.3 million. So it's a decrease of 538,000 people. That means a lot of people are back to work. I'm, again, hoping this 2-week shutdown does not impact employers and employees that much. I'm hoping, but again, this has been really good, very good positive trends. So the data from the Survey of Business Uncertainty suggests that the road forward is going to be a tough slog. Businesses hold tepid expectations for year-ahead unemployment and sales growth. Expectations are, in fact, so tepid that based on the latest average projection, it will take firms more than 4.5 years to recover from their pre-COVID employment levels. So again, this is the Federal Reserve being very cautious, saying it's going to take us 4.5 years to recover for full employment. These kind of thought process make people start thinking, okay, what about foreclosures? What are we going to do with foreclosures? However, the number of mortgages in active forbearance decreased dramatically over this time. This is back in May. This is where we were in October. So these are people who are in active forbearance, again, delaying their mortgage payments because they're out of work. They can't afford to make their mortgage payments. Again, big reduction. So of those who went into forbearance, see what's happened. We had 8.47% in May. We're down to 5.83% in October. Overall forbearances are going down. So that is positive. People are paying their mortgages. So the percentage of forbearance are decreasing, and this is where they were decreasing from. So this is private label. It's the highest, but it's going down. And this is Fannie, Freddie right here in the orange. And we have in blue, Ginnie Mae here. So total forbearances going downward. People are paying and getting out of the forbearance issues. So of the 5.7 million families granted forbearance, this is what actually happened upon the expiration of the plan. Remember, forbearance was just for a few months to help people recover from that. So for 2.4 roughly, the forbearance has been extended, 2.4 million. These people are still in forbearance. Their period of being granted a delay in making their mortgage payments is still going on. And so that is a positive thing for these people who probably cannot make their payments due to being out of work. 44%, however, and 44% between either removed from forbearance while performing. So 2.3 million people went back to paying their mortgages. 500,000 paid their mortgage off. These are probably people who paid who sold their home. And so even though they were in forbearance, they sold their home, so the mortgage has been entirely paid off. Here's people who got back into making their payment. Now, here's another one in gray, the 481,000. These are people who their forbearance expired and they're delinquent and in loss mitigation. So in other words, they're probably trying to work out with the bank, maybe some sort of short sale, something. Again, they're trying to do something to try to figure out how they can get current. Only 80,000 have their forbearance expired and they're in delinquent status. So these people are probably ones that the banks are starting to pursue foreclosure proceedings on. So that was as of October 20th. So the plus of this, people forbearance extended, and this middle group here in which they're back on track paying their mortgages, or they pay the mortgage off entirely. So good news here as far as what's happening with housing. Are we going into any sort of foreclosure issue? According to Ivy Zellman, who is of Zellman Associates, is an economist who tracks a lot of housing, the likelihood of us having a foreclosure crisis again is about 0%. That is what she's saying. So positive stuff. We all know that since the housing crisis, lenders have gotten very, very careful about making sure people can afford to pay their loans. And so people are not speculating, robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's very difficult to get a loan that is not well vetted. And so as a result of this is a crisis done by a virus, a pandemic. It's not due to poor lending practices. And again, experts think that we are not going to have a foreclosure crisis again. Here's one reason why. The months of inventory of homes for sale. This is national statistics. And so nationally, here was October last year, slow down here and people pull homes off the market in winter. Big uptick with COVID. And then down to 2.7 months in September, again, across the entire nation. We know each market is unique and different, and Bend is by far more unique with hardly any inventory. But still, this is the reason why we don't see a housing crisis. People are snapping up houses as soon as they hit the market. Here's again a year-over-year change in listings. So here, the green line is new listings. Here's a baseline compared with early March. So early March is the baseline they set up. So that would be the 0. This is new listings. New listings, as soon as they hit the market, they're going pending because here's total listings. So we were down 15% in early March, and now we're down, looks like about 37% compared with the same time last year. So year-over-year change in listings. We don't have enough inventory to keep up with the demand. As we all know, new listings hit the market, multiple offers, people grabbing things. It is truly a market I've never seen before, and I'm sure I've never heard of a historical time in which the market's been like this either. So this again is a change year-over-year in the listings. So why are people not putting their home on the market? This is from Zillow. So 31% say it's financial uncertainty. 34% say life is too uncertain right now. And 25% say it's because they're concerned about COVID. So people who are not putting their homes on the market, these are the reasons why. They're not sure if they're going to have a job. They're not sure of things. They're just uncertain. They're on a holding pattern until we can hopefully get back to normal. And again, 25% definitely there's concern about COVID. People who don't want to open their home up for fear that someone with COVID will come through the door and potentially give it to them. So homeowners who feel life is uncertain right now may think they could still get a strong price if they delay selling until they have more clarity. The catch is that while they're waiting to sell, it may raise the cost of their trade-up. This fall's record low mortgage rates, which make trade-up more affordable on a monthly basis, are not guaranteed to last. Again, our mortgage rates are unbelievably low right now, which even though in our market house prices are going up, it still makes a home more affordable on a monthly basis with the mortgage rates as low as they are. So this is projections on home price appreciation. Again, these are the top people who do projections on these things. Zillow is the most positive about it, thinking that homes are going to go up 7% this coming year. Zellman 5.9, Freddie Mac 5.5, NAR 4.7. Even CoreLogic, which has been really, really low, is in positive territory now. So we will see what's going to happen with home appreciation. We all know general economic principle of supply and demand means that if there is no supply and there's a lot of demand, prices are going to go up. So I would think, since all these experts are thinking the same thing, this is probably what's going to happen as long as there's still demand. So there is a prediction, however. The Mortgage Bankers Association believe that mortgage rates could rise in the year to come. They're still near all-time lows, but remember the mortgage rates in 2019 at 3.7%? 2020, we're at 3%. In some cases, I've seen below 3%. Prediction is we're going to start creeping back up. 3.3, 21, 3.6, 2022, 3.9, 2023. Again, historically, anything below 5 is still phenomenal. But as mortgage rates creep up, it means the affordability of a home becomes is lessened. So this index talks about housing affordability. During the economic housing crisis of 2009, housing prices, homes were very affordable because they were so depressed in value. We had so much supply. People were in short sales. They were in foreclosures. And people who were buying during that time could pick up houses for pennies on the dollar. Houses were most affordable during that period of time. Historically, right now, today, we are still in an affordable time frame based upon things such as low interest rates, but home prices are creeping up. And so you can see that where we were in 2019 is lessened. We are now getting, if housing prices continue to go up, we will find the affordability just not there. Again, this is national. Each market is unique, and we know affordable housing and BEND do not go together at all. So the good news is that affordability remains significantly higher than 1 year ago, mostly due to falling rates. 1 month does not make a trend, but this month's decline in affordability signals that the current dynamics producing faster house price appreciation may begin to erode the affordability gains of recent years. That's the concern. And we know within our own market, BEND and affordability are not, it doesn't work. Is there an affordable home in BEND? Is there any house under 300,000? I don't even know if there is. We have a condo listing right now, Colleen's new condo listing in the Inn of the Seventh Mountain for $198,500. That's a condo, it's not a house, but homes like that right now are quite desirable. Oh, so let me get out of that here. And this is going to go into what's happening locally here. So here is our local market. So here's what happened for our office in October 2020 versus October 2019. I always like to compare apples to apples. So in listings, we all know are a valuable commodity right now. We were up 12% in our listings from 2019 to 2020, just from 14 to 16. But the value of those extra 2 listings, we were at $11 million in our new listings versus $8 million in 2019. Big increase here in pending sales. 2019, 37 pending sales. 2020, 54, up 46%. Value of those from 19 million to 28 million. The big increase here is closed. We had so many properties go into contract in September, August. We closed in 2019, 33 properties. In 2020, 69, up 109%. Value of those properties were $38 million. And again, year to date, this is the big increase here. From 2019 to 2020, we've had 447 closings at a value of $241 million versus $190 million in 2019. So you guys are working really hard on making things happen. Part of the increase here is just the average house price is up so much. Everything is up. So it doesn't take as many sales to have high production as far as the values of the property. Also, just the sheer numbers, that makes a difference too. We are selling things within our brokerage, which is really great. This is the chart we use all the time to talk about what's happening here in BEND. And this BEND chart here includes Sun River. Active listings, you can see we are below new listings and below sold listings. Again, we still have more things selling than we do have new listings coming on board. Listing prices, look at what's going up with prices. The average median list price, active median list price, is over 700,000 according to this list. Again, this pulls in data. This is Bend residential. This will include condos. This is going to include, doesn't limit based upon acreage. So there's some acreage property in here too. Absorption rates in months, about a month. So sold to list price, over 100% sold to list price ratio. Days on market, way down, and the price volume is way down. So this is comparing Bend single family residential on less than an acre. So this is taking all of MLS data on this. Here's the big thing here. Active listings in 2020. We only had at the end of October 110 active listings in Bend for single family residential on less than an acre. In 2019, we had 825. We're down 86% on active listings. You all know that. You're looking at MLS all the time trying to find something that would work for your people. New listings, we were up. We are getting more listings this year than we did last year, but the difference is they're going into contract as soon as possible. Look at the new pendings, up 113% compared with a year before. Solds are up compared with a year before. Lots of activity here. New listings, new solds. It's just the demand is so high for these things. Volume, sold volume, we're up almost 37% in sold volumes, $166 million. Here's the average sales price now of $669,000 and the median sales price of $560,000. Again, percentage of list price, we're selling overactive price, listing price, 101%. This is the thing that hit me the hardest here, Rob. Is the months of supply. 0.4 months of supply. That means 2 weeks. 2 weeks of supply. That's as of October 31st for Bend single family homes on less than an acre. 2 weeks of supply. That is absolutely unheard of. It's non-sustainable. We desperately need more inventory for the amount of demand that there is. It is, but we all know from those national stats we just were looking at that there are people who probably would be listing their homes, but they're afraid of COVID. And there's a lot of people who don't list because they're just unsure of what's going to happen. A lot of uncertainty out there. I find this just amazing. Oh, so here we are comparing ourselves again against everybody else. And you can see we are still in 5th place with a volume of 252 million. That's a little higher than our stats because again, this MLS counts if we're on both sides of a transaction as one sale. So we do sell a number of our homes within the brokerage itself. Our volume is really good. 534,000 is the average sales price for our properties that we represent. So guys, you're really doing well. You're doing extremely well. You're selling high-end stuff. You are working hard at it, and we have a lot of stuff booked for this month and going into December too. So all I can say is you're making it happen despite the COVID issues. This leads us to the thing that I wanted, a couple of more things I really wanted to talk about here. During these slow times, and we are moving into a slower time historically, moving into November, December, early January, where things are historically around the Christmas holidays, New Year's, even Thanksgiving, a little bit slower. It's time to work on your business. And we've talked before, in the beginning of the year, we talked a lot about how to make yourself stand out from the crowd and also to touch your referrals base. I know some of you guys have taken that to heart and are actively doing that, but there's others who are still probably struggling with the technology and how to figure out how to do it. And so while you're not as busy, our staff is not as busy either because we don't have as many new listings coming on board. And so one of the things I wanted to offer to you is an opportunity for us to take on some of this marketing for you. What we're looking at doing is setting up drip campaigns. Once we get them going, it's going to be get them going and forget about them sort of things. This is the first, which would be sending out to your database a happy Thanksgiving note, and that would be going out probably the end of this week, beginning of next week at the latest. We were using Kate as an example. She provided us with her list of her past clients, and so this is the note that will go out to her database via email through Constant Contact, and we are happy to set up a drip campaign for all of you that would be branded to you. All we would need from you is your list of your people, and then we get the campaign set up, and then you have to verify the address because we want this to be coming from you, not from us, and so you would be noted as the return address. So it's something that we can do for you should you wish to take advantage of this. I'll follow up in an email, but basically all Brittany or Emily or both of them will need would be your list of people. It'd just be names and emails so we can set up the Constant Contact campaign for you. So our thoughts here is we'll send out a Thanksgiving card. We probably won't get them done for Thanksgiving. We do a New Year's, and then probably coming at be Valentine's, it'd be St. Patrick's Day, it's Spring Forward, you know, the major holidays, just again, to touch your clients, to know that you're in business and you would welcome any sort of referrals they might give you. If you have questions on the market, like a market quote, let me know, things like that, call to action. This is what we're looking at doing. So I'll follow up with an email, and if anyone wants to get the ball rolling, and I think we have time to get a few of these Thanksgiving ones set up for you if you have your list in an Excel spreadsheet, or even some other format that we could easily take the names and the email addresses from. Anyway, that's something that we would like to do for you. Going forward, besides this is, again, back to the market, what's happening with the market. And for us who are we're representing buyers in this market, we know that the issues connected with multiple offers they're very challenging to deal with. And I want to, during the time we have left, go over a few things that I think are really important. I had an opportunity to attend a webinar on multiple offers and ethics. And so I pulled some slides from this, and so they're not the best slides as far as their production, because it's basically a screenshot that I used and trimmed up. I do want to go over some of this stuff because I think it's really important, and I've heard the frustration from a lot of you when you're dealing with this. So let's talk about multiple offers. There's a lot of risks involved. You know, so for sellers, the concern when they do multiple offers was the price full enough? Did I get what I need? And have I been exposed to the entire market? And how am I protected if the buyers can't perform? For buyers, and they're worrying, did I pay too much? Can I still negotiate? Did the seller even see my offer? I didn't receive a written response. And then why did I lose? Was it price, terms, or discrimination? For agents, what's the best process to use for both buyers and sellers? Is the co-op agent on the other side a friend or a foe? And did my offer get to the seller timely and fairly? And it's hard to manage multiple offers. It's hard work to manage them. It really is. In our office, one listing had 19 offers. I can tell you that is challenging for anybody to handle. And then for brokerages, what's our fiduciary duties towards both the buyer and the seller? Is the multiple offer coming in-house or out-of-house? And do we have a process in place for being a dual agent and a designated agency? And is there any sort of agent bias? We've got to make sure we're very careful with fair housing, any potential claims of fair housing violations. So moving forward here, this is important here stuff. Multiple offer challenges. We have duties that make it tough. So we have to think about our code of ethics, which is promotion and protection and honesty, cooperation, equal service, and always representing the true picture. There's agency duties of confidentiality, honesty, good faith, reasonable care, And we must always present all offers. We know that as part of agency. And we have to think about, how does this pertain to our customer? Is the customer our client? They can be both. So here is from Oregon Statute 863-215, excuse me. We have a duty to both parties and their agents. We have the duty to exercise reasonable care and diligence. We have the duty to deal honestly and in good faith, and to timely present all written officers, notices, and communications. That's the key there. All timely present all offers, notices, and communications. So here is the Code of Ethics Duties presenting and negotiating multiple offers. Standard of Practice 1.6. Realtors shall submit offers and counter offers objectively and as quickly as possible. So stick to the facts. An opinion isn't objective. So think about that. The facts are price, down payment, loan, earnest money, closing date. Those are objective information. Opinion is, I can't stand the agent who wrote the offer on the other side. That's an opinion. Objective stuff is dealing with the facts. We have a duty to submit offers and counteroffers as quickly as possible. So, Standard of Practice 1.7. Upon the written request of a cooperating broker who submits an offer to the listing broker, the listing broker shall provide as soon as practical a written affirmation stating the offer has been submitted to the seller, or a written notification that the seller has waived the obligation to have the offer presented. So in other words, once you receive an offer, you're to let the other side know, received your offer. I will be presenting to my seller on such and such a day. Or the seller has waived the offer, the obligation to have it presented right now. For instance, we have it posted in MLS, all offers will be reviewed Sunday at 4 p.m. So this is our part of our code of duties, code of ethics duties, how we are to handle offers that come in. But we do owe an obligation to let the other side know in writing that we received their offer. So then here's Standard of Practice 115, presenting and negotiating multiple offers. Realtors, in response to inquiries from buyers or cooperating brokers, shall, with the seller's approval, disclose the existence of offers on the property. So people always say, well, what do I do about multiple offers? You have to have that conversation with your seller when you take the listing. If we get to multiple offers, do you want me to tell the other parties that we have multiple offers? And if they say, no, don't say a word, you are then operating as your seller requires you to do. So really what we need to do is get it, when we take a listing, especially in this market, have already a written plan set up with your seller as to what we do if we receive multiple offers. So if your seller says, I don't want you to let anyone know that we have multiple offers, you are doing what your seller wants. On the other side, if they say, yes, tell people that we have multiple offers because I want to try to get the prices up, you do that with the seller's authorization. So only with the seller telling you, you're working for the seller. The seller tells you what they want you to do. You have that conversation at the point of time when you take that listing and you get it in writing. So what I'm probably going to do is draft an addendum that we can have to our listing contract, very simple thing, which basically says that the broker shall or shall not let others know about multiple offers if I receive them. Again, this is the seller dictating and telling us how they want us to represent them. Now, this is a continuation of this. When disclosure is authorized, realtors shall also disclose, if they're asked, whether the offers were obtained by the listing licensee, another licensee in the listing firm, or by a cooperating broker. This is in our code of ethics, guys. So if someone asks you, did you write if the seller's authorized to disclose multiple offers, and you're disclosing that, and then the broker on the other side said, did you write one of these offers? We are obligated to tell. Or if they say, did someone in your office in your brokerage write one of those offers, you're obligated to say that. You are required to tell the other side, yes, I am writing an offer, or yes, Joe in my office wrote an offer. So you don't say Joe, but you say, yes, we have someone else in our office who wrote one of the offers, or wrote 2 of the offers, or wrote 3 of the offers, but only if asked. If they don't ask, you don't have to volunteer this information. Now, again, understand Article 3 requires us to cooperate with other brokers except when cooperation is not in the client's best interest. If the client says, I don't want you to put this property into MLS, I just want you to try to find me a buyer, or I just want your brokerage to find me a buyer, that is coming from the seller, and we do what the seller tells us to do. But if they say, we want to have maximum exposure. We all know maximum exposure for any listing happens when it hits the open market. And having an active in MLS exposes the property to the most potential buyers. Here's another part of Standard of Practice 310. The duty to cooperate relates to the obligation to share information on listed property and to make property available to other brokers for showing to prospective purchasers when it is in the best interests of the seller. So that's why we have these coming soon obligations now in MLS. If we have a listing that's not quite ready to go yet, waiting for professional photos, seller says, go ahead and put a sign up, but I'm not ready for showings until next week, doing some pickup around the house, doing some cleanup. We put it in coming soon, excuse me, so that the other side, so that all other brokers excuse me, have the opportunity to look at that property, even though the photos may not be right, and to let their clients know about it coming soon. It's in the best, if it's in the best interest of the seller. But if the seller says, no, I don't want that, that's their choice. Now, this is also something very important. This is Standard Practice 3.4. Realtors acting as listing brokers have an affirmative obligation to disclose the existence of dual or variable rate commission agreements. You take a listing. The client says, yeah, I agree to a 5% commission, split 50-50 between you and the selling broker. But if you, listing broker, also bring me a buyer, commission will be 4%. That's a variable rate commission. We are obligated to let all cooperating brokers know that. So we're obligated to put it into MLS that there is a variable rate commission. And if anyone calls us on it, this is the caveat on this. They have an affirmative obligation to disclose the existence of a dual variable rate commission and shall, in response to inquiries for cooperating brokers, disclose the difference that would result. People never ask that, but if someone sees in MLS that there is an incentive for the seller to use the listing agent as their buyer's agent, and someone asks us, what is that incentive? You're obligated to tell them. What is the difference? Not to tell them what the commission is, total commission, not to tell them what the listing site commission is, but you are obligated to tell them, yeah, there's a 0.5 point difference on the selling side. So that way, a cooperating broker could in turn adjust their offer to compensate for that difference that they would get. If they find out, for instance, that you have written an offer and now they are competing with you on the buyer side. So this is something that people don't recognize, don't know, and it's only if someone asks you. But if they ask you, you are obligated to tell them what the difference would result. So big code of ethics issue here that I think, I shared this with one of our brokers a few days ago, and I said, they're obligated to tell you because they found out that the listing agent was writing an offer. They asked, the listing agent wouldn't tell. Technically, that's a code of ethics violation. So you may want to remind people the Standard Practice if you are asking people this, asking the listing agent, could you tell me what the variable commission difference would be if you do represent the buyer on this property you also are the listing agent on, and they say, oh, I'm not going to tell you, then you can say, well, the standard of practice 3.4 requires that you do. And if you have questions, please run it by your principal broker. And this is just going to be an education, I think, for a lot of us, because this has not been how we've conducted our business. It's been one of the parts of Code of Ethics that we don't really talk about a lot, but it is there, and it's part of our issues when we're dealing with multiple offers and trying to compete with others on the same property. So just be aware of that. Here's another thing that's really important for us to be aware of too. Article 10, realtors shall not deny equal professional services to any person for reasons of race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. We do not discriminate on any basis for any reason. And that's one of the issues, and I think you guys have all heard about this, the concerns with those letters that buyers are writing when it comes time to recognize, to try to have their client stand out from the crowd in a multiple offer scenario. They say, here's my wonderful, loving family over here that have 2 kids, and we envision raising our family in your beautiful home, and we think we're going to love it just as much as you do. We see your standard of care, and that's one of those notes that people will write. Compared with a guy who is a single guy who just is going to move in there and just live there with a bunch of roommates. You know, it is one of those situations where we cannot be a participant in discrimination. And if you have a discussion with your seller and they tell you, well, we want another family to move into your house, into this house, because we've loved this house, we've lived here 20 years, and we want someone else to love it as much as we did. You have to have that discussion with your seller and say, you know, this is against fair housing, and that's a violation of the law, and we cannot. If you explain this to them, I think they'll understand. At the same time, when you're representing a buyer in this situation, it is really challenging because we want our buyers to stand out, and we also know that we are required to pass on all communications that come in with our offers. Remember, that's part of our Code of Ethics too. Communications can include these letters. However, it's not part of the actual offer, and the code requires timeliness on the communication. We can pass on those letters after a decision has been made, and that's one thing to think about for timeliness. Again, we don't want people to be discriminating against anybody. It's a fine line to draw, it really is. This is one thing I think is really helpful to consider when we are working with people on dealing with multiple offers with our seller. And based on this, we have our own chart, which we almost have together. And as soon as we do, I'm going to send it out to you guys. But this is a way of easily comparing offers. And I've often told people, put it together on an Excel spreadsheet. Well, we're going to give you an Excel spreadsheet you can fill in the blanks on. So this is a good way of doing it. You compare offer 1, offer 2, offer 3, offer 4, offer 5 against each other. Everything from letting buyer name and agency could be included in it. But if you're really wanting to compare apples to apples, no opinions, being totally objective on it, take out the buyer's names, because Joe and Sam Smith, gay couple, versus Joe and Mary Hernandez, Hispanic couple, versus Joe Smith, Mary Smith, obviously probably a Caucasian couple, versus Investor LLC. That is eliminating any perception that someone might be looking at this on a potential fair housing issue. So when you're presenting via an Excel spreadsheet like this initially, I think it really is a very helpful thing to do, and it eliminates any claim that someone's making a decision based upon I want a family to move into this house or a violation of fair housing. So this is objectively looking at this. Notify of multiple offers. Again, this is based upon whether or not your seller wants you to do this, and the seller has said yes. Have you notified all of them about multiple offers? Be careful, because often the person who doesn't get notified of the multiple offers is offer number one. They came in first before there was any multiple offer. So if your seller wants you to let people know, make sure you jump back to offer number one and say, yeah, there's multiple offers on the table. And then here's the offer price, whatever that is. Here's their earnest money down. They're down, including the earnest money. So the down payment. And then their total of the loan that they're getting. And then are they asking for buyer closing costs? And are they asking for sellers to pay on the home warranty? So in that case, what is the net offer price? Taking off any seller concessions and the home warranty if they're having the seller pay, this would be the net offer price. Then we're dealing with what type is the financing? Do we have the pre-approval or proof of funds? Is there any personal property included in the offer? And then what is the inspection period? Does the seller pay for any of the inspections? Is there a possession date? What's the closing date? And what's the offer response time? So this is a way of showing all your offers in a very quick way. And then anything special. So the special thing is, like, say in offer number 2, there is an escalation clause. $500 higher than other offers. No cap, and must provide complete copy of the next highest offer, all pages. So complete copy of the next highest offer. Offer 5 has an escalation clause. $2,000 higher than all offers, up to a maximum of $395. Provide proof of next best offer. 2 different things here. So which one's the better offer for the seller? Taking these into consideration, you're looking at this. It's this way you're able to show your client objectively how much they're going to net out of this whole thing, and then there's no hint of discrimination in this. And then also something to think about here. This escalation clause is $500 and higher than all others, no cap, and must complete a complete copy, all pages. This one just provide proof of the next best offer. Proof would probably just be page 1, not necessarily including the rest of it. But this one, they want all pages. So good way of showing this, and I'm hoping that you guys can utilize some of these once we have it all together ourselves. So this chart, I think, is really good. Are there any questions on this chart at all? Let me just look at that. Any questions on this, guys? I know I'm going through an awful lot of stuff here, but I want to make sure if you have questions, let me know. If not, I'm just going to continue on because there's more good stuff here too. So principles you must have, especially in multiple offers. The golden rule is let the client decide. Again, what can be or may be disclosed in negotiations. The negotiation strategy you've already set up with your seller, what is in their own best interest, and what offers counters to make, accept, or reject. Again, it's the client's decision. We tell them what their options are, but it's their choice. I mean, we have some clients out there who never want to go into the open market. They're fine if they get a full price offer when we have the property showing and coming soon, or even if it's just showing within our own office. They said, I've got a full price offer based on that. I don't care that I might make more money by the open market. I'm fine. I'm totally fine with this offer. It's what I wanted. I'm happy. I don't want to have people walking through my house. That's totally fine. That's their choice. For others, I want to have multiple offers. I want to have people bidding on this property. It's their choice. So with multiple offers, there's a negotiating process, helping agents and protecting companies prepare, discover the client's interests, what's their why, understand what the market position is. You know that. Rate the strength and weaknesses of each offer, rank the priorities and areas of potential compromise, and then there's always a target and a walkaway clause. People get caught up in this, and one of the best things I've heard our brokers talk about with their clients is, what is the best price when you're representing a buyer that you are willing to offer that would make you not be upset if you don't win? So in other words, someone outbid you, but I went in as high as I possibly could, and I don't feel bad because I kept an extra $10,000 in reserve. and you lost. So things like that, come prepared for it. Explain the seller's options in the multiple offer, describes the effects, pros, and cons. There is always, when you're working with a seller, a delayed response, in a multiple offer. You can always accept the first round best. You can counter with highest and best. You can counter one, reject, or delay response on the rest. And you can also do multiple counter offers. Now, multiple counter offers are tricky. Guys, when you do a multiple counter offer, you have to be very, very careful the way you write that counter offer. Because you can do multiple counter offers. Say you get 5 offers you like. You can do multiple counter offers to all 5 of them. But you have to be careful how you word it, because if all of them accept your counter offer as written without special verbiage in there that says buyer's acceptance is contingent upon seller's acknowledgement, you could find yourself in contract to 5 different parties. Serious issue. So if you get to a point of having a client who wants to do that, we need to discuss it and how to best make sure your client's protected. So there's a lot of options here. Advising that a listing or signing agreement. Prepare them. This is the buyer's offer here. So prepare them by getting a yes, asking price, counter, emotion as an enemy. Be careful about the overpaying. Then there's the greed as the enemy, the fall through, and everyone wants to feel they won. And again, we want to have a win for everyone, but it doesn't always happen that way. And then always having something in your back pocket is an option too. And so here's again the love letters to talk about. Don't have to accept them or present them. In some cases, one of these letters, a seller could use it as emotional blackmail. They get annoyed at this person who's gushing all over their house. They think this is not real. I don't like this person because they don't seem real to me. And the buyer might say something that could actually offend the seller. So you don't have to accept them or to present them with the offer. You do have to let them know about this communication. But according to the person who taught this class that I took, he said they don't have to be part of the offer presented. Okay. Does your seller want to disclose written offers? Again, get that at part of your listing. What are the terms of the offers? If one offer knows, tell the others too why this might change, and you have to get written approval. You can disclose in Oregon the terms of the other offers. In some states, it's illegal to do that. Some states in the country, I think North Carolina is one of those, that you cannot disclose a buyer's offer to other parties. In Oregon, you can. A lot of people think they don't recognize that, they don't know that. But if someone comes to you and your seller has given you the authority to let the other side know this, again, this has to be what the seller is willing to do. If the seller comes to you and say, yeah, I want to get the most I possibly can, you tell people who wrote offer number 3 that we have this offer on offer number 2, which is $400,000. If they can beat $400,000, they have the house. They can go to 401, 402. You can tell if your seller authorizes what the other offers are. In fact, people who have taken the GRI course, they often stress that. This is a state in which you're allowed to disclose the terms of the other offers if your seller gives you approval of that. So here's a way, and I'm going to put this in an addendum. So broker shall or shall not divulge the following: 1, the existence and or 2, the terms of offers on the property in response to inquiries from buyers or cooperating brokers. So it never hurts, guys, when you're in a multiple offer scenario, to ask the listing broker, has your seller authorized you to give me information on the terms of these other offers? And if they say yes, they say, what's the best offer you've got? And again, from a listing broker's perspective, what is our fiduciary duty? Is to get the best price and the best terms possible for our client. So this is one way of doing it. So again, here's for the buyers. Do the buyers really want the property? Rate the buyer's interests, the term, price, possession. Where are they flexible? Improve your legitimacy. Create the again, test their risk tolerance. How much do you want? What do you feel most comfortable with? Are you okay going to this price? And will you kick yourself if you don't get it, if you really had more? So again, what are they most comfortable doing? Recognize, and your buyer needs to know that their offer may not be confidential. The existence, terms, and conditions of the offer might be disclosed to the other buyers by the seller or the listing broker. This is shopping offers. So you could write into a do not disclose in your offer, but again, the seller has to agree to that. If they have no written contract, they have to agree to the do not disclose prior to you submitting your offer. I don't know if in this market, if that's something that most people would take on. So just be aware when you're representing your buyers that people might be seeing your offer. Yeah, here's other things too to think about. Slow down to get maximum results. If there's a quick first offer, delaying may encourage more offers. Again, market in the MLS, offers not considered until such and such. You have to honor that too. If the seller says, I'll accept offers at 4 p.m. on Sunday, we got to honor that. Play fair. Buyers can investigate and prepare cleanest offers. They can ask questions. They can also submit their offer at 3:50 on Sunday. That's a way of not being used by others to shop. If you're authorized by the seller, call the showing agents and notify offers. Tell the presentation time, encourage submission of more offers before, explain the response process. If seller authorizes, notify all parties with offers about competition. And highest and best counter. Is the highest always the best? Is the best only a high price? It may help reveal the buyer's motivation, but does desire equal capability? Creative solutions, but does it meet the seller goals? This is what a lot of you guys have also told me. Call the listing agent. Find out what the seller's goals are. Find out what the seller's closing date is. Find out if the seller needs to stay 2 weeks after closing. Write it into your offer so they don't have to counter it. Make it all part of your offer right from the start. Here's again the verbiage I was telling you about the counter offer. And also identify seller side interests. Other than price, is there anything else that may be important to the sellers or to you, listing agent? For instance, if my buyer utilizes Joe Smith escrow company, is that important to you? Or Joe Smith lender, because you've had good relations with Joe Smith lender, is that something that would be helpful? Be price competitive. Again, from a buyer's perspective, here's one thing I hadn't thought about before. In a multiple offer scenario, offer to buy the sellers, pay the seller's closing costs. Never thought about that. But truly, in a multiple offer scenario, when people are offering to let the seller stay in rent free for so many days, so many months, you offering to pay the seller closing costs, maybe not commission, that's a huge chunk, but the seller escrow fees, their title insurance, that's a several $1,000 cost, but that's something that may make a difference in the seller because they will net more in their contract. Again, representing a buyer, have real proof of cash, more down, full loan credit approval. Only thing that still has to happen is the house has to appraise. These are things that make your offer more strong. And shorten waiving contingencies. We all do this. I know it's 10 o'clock, and so before we go, guys, I do want to find out, do you have questions on anything? Does anyone have anything that they want to say here? Because I'm pretty much done with this. I do want to let you guys know I am going to be sending out that multiple offer sheet. I'll send out that addendum for when you take listings. I also got confirmation back from OAR that we can use our office for clients. We just have to keep the front door locked for general walk-in, general public coming in here. But obviously, if you have a need to meet a client here, feel free to schedule a time to use the conference room. That's fine for OAR during this current lockdown. Any questions with anything? I know I covered a lot of stuff, and I do I may cover some of this again because multiple offers are what we are dealing with right now. Any other contributions, any other things, haves or wants? Anybody, anything you want to contribute right now? Yeah, Catherine or Katie, do you have something?
In the historic district?
What's that, Colleen?
Oh, does anyone have a pocket in the historic district?
Hey, no.
Okay.
I think someone's talking to their dog. Anyone has a pocket in the historic district? I haven't heard of anything, Colleen. Not so far.
I'm wondering if anyone has the pocket. There was a window, a lead from floor I had the other day, and they're looking in the 2 to 3 million price range. And right now there's only about 4 homes in Bend that kind of fit what they're looking for. I'm curious if anyone has something that's off the market.
What is it they're looking for specifically? You said between 2 and 3 million, Katie, but what is it?
Yep, 2 to 3 million, at least 3,800 square feet, and they would like it to be, you know, have some property, maybe an acre or so. Yeah, that's kind of their parameters right now. So,
Are we talking in Bend, just outside Bend?
they were really specific about in Bend. As right now, they're just renting and would love to get a home as soon as possible. I just asked if they were willing to look at other resort communities outside of Bend. I'm kind of waiting to hear back on that. So,
Okay, very good. Haven't heard of anything like that coming on right now, Katie.
okay, yep, no worries.
Okay. Anybody else, anything?
Yeah, this is Debbie.
Yeah, Debbie.
I also have a buyer renting. Friends of mine, they're looking for anywhere up to 2,700 square feet, up to 800, anywhere in Bend. And we can't be too choosy about the other qualities.
Okay. Not desperate for inventory.
Linnea,
Yeah, Kathy?
people might want to check out my new coming soon listing. It actually is in my neighborhood, right next door to where I live. It just went into MLS yesterday and coming soon. It's on Tourmaline Lane, which is off Archie Briggs Road. It does side, the side of the house is actually butting Archie Briggs. We're down at the closer to O.B. Riley, but it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,248 square feet on 0.28, so huge backyard. Great family home, built in 1997, had a new roof in 2011, has a huge bonus room, 526 square feet, radiant floor heat downstairs, new vinyl flooring downstairs. Price at $550. We're not going to be able to allow it to be shown until after the Thanksgiving holiday. So sometime during the week of November 30th. I don't exactly know yet. If you have someone that's interested, please get in touch with me before the Thanksgiving holiday because I will be out of town to schedule an appointment. They are going to be moving out of state, so it's not really photo or Matterport video ready at this point. So I used photos that when I had the house listed back in 2014. So if anybody has any questions, get in touch, 541-419-6778.
Thanks, Kathy. That's great.
Thanks.
Anyone else, anything? Okay, if not, I know that Sky Slope is starting. Some of you guys are taking some training on Sky Slope right now. I hadn't gotten the notification, even though I was involved with the beta testing. They have uploaded the ORIF forms. If you log into Sky Slope, you will see at the top right where your name is, there's a button that says app. If you click on that, the app should take you to the forms, but you should probably also do some training on it first. So I know a few of you guys are taking some training on it, and once I get more information on it, I will let you know. If need be, what I will do is I will do a go-to meeting and show you how to use it. But the forms will be available on SkySlope. And what's wonderful about it, it's going to be like DocuSign in that it will connect directly with DigiSign. So when you pull in the forms and you set up your contacts, all that stuff, you can then go right from there to DigiSign. It'll auto-populate where your client is to sign, and you can send it off, and it goes right there into your transaction. So it should be a great tool. It hopefully, once they get all the bugs worked out, it will eliminate the need to have zip forms, because I know customer service on zip forms has been pretty challenging lately. So it'll be a nice tool. The first time you log in, you're going to have to verify your license number. That's way they know that you have paid for those forms through ORIF. Then also, I've already contacted MLS, our local MLS, and the data share, and I know SkySlope has reached out to them as well in order to get our listing forms also uploaded in there too. And I've been told from SkySlope that they will also, over time, enable us to have that opportunity to have our own set of forms in there too, so our own brokerage forms. So everything like what we've been utilizing for the escalation clause, this addendum I'm talking about putting together, various other things as well, we can have them in theirs too. So I'm pretty excited about that. Any other questions, guys? Yeah, Sherry, I will make sure that you have SkySlope access. I will make sure that's done. I didn't know you didn't have that. Any other questions, guys? Okay. If not, then have a great day, and we'll be in contact. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.